Birmingham Sports
with Ed Mackay.
This is BHBN Radio.
Welcome to the second episode of A Window of Opportunity, the transfer show for us here at BHBN Sport. I am bringing this live from Molineux today, where Wolves have just got their first 3 points on the board. So very jubilant Molineux that will be from today. Still quite a lot of activity going around as a result, but I am joined by the wonderful Kim Smith and Rob Richards. And we're going to be discussing what the Midlands teams can do to bolster their efforts in the second half of the season, now that the transfer market is actually over. So we did our first episode last week, and it was all a little bit of speculation. This week, we're hoping to sort of look at more rumours that are a bit more cemented, things that might actually happen. But we're very fortunate because we can talk about Birmingham City first, because they have made their first signing of the transfer window. And Kai Harley-Wagner has come in from Philadelphia Union. I believe it was a £2 million transfer fee. Let's throw straight to Kim Smith. This is massive. First day, made a signing.
Yeah, so a bit of intent shown here by Blues by getting started early. Kai Wagner has played a lot of his career in the MLS, and I know there will be a lot of detractors talking about the standard of the MLS, but I would have thought moving from the MLS to the Championship is a feasible thing. He seems to have done well in the MLS. He ended up in their team of the year. He has won stuff with them. And also, importantly, he's a left back, which is a position we're really short of at the moment, because obviously Cochrane went off injured again 2 days ago. We're not going to see him for Coventry. And hopefully, if all the I's dotted and the T's are crossed, Wagner will be able to play for Blues tomorrow v Commentary. And importantly, he's a left back who does like going forward, and he has provided quite a few assists in his career, so he could be useful.
This is what I was going to actually ask you, because the last time I was at St Andrews, they scored 4 goals, and 3 of them were set pieces. Cochrane's delivery was what actually led to the goals. Since that period where Blues were doing well, Cochrane's been in and out with injuries, and so that was actually what I was going to ask you. Do we think that Kai Harley-Wagner will be able to provide those same kind of deliveries? Is he going to be the one who takes the dead ball? Is he a dead ball specialist, I suppose? Is that something we know of him?
He may well be one of the ones charged with doing that. I mean, obviously, we've got Peck doing free kicks, quite a few corners at the moment. He's not bad. I mean, he hit the woodwork the other day in a game that was overall very poor. But I think we need that attacking threat from the sides. As you say, we've got Cochrane out, Lee Buchanan still coming back after 12 months after a horrific injury. And then also Ethan Laird out as well on the right. And certainly the consensus is that with Ethan Laird in the side, we would certainly have more points on the board than we've got now. So if we can inject a bit more attacking threat, that is going to be really needed, to be honest, because you know, you can stick 4 strikers on the pitch, but people have got to provide for them.
Very true. I mean, one of the things we did discuss last week on the show was the fact that there isn't a lot of attacking threat, and there is the possibility that some strikers could be going out of Birmingham City, because there's been rumours that Linda Dykes might leave, or Kyogo might go back up north of the border. I mean, I'll bring Rob Richardson, a Villa fan, but I'm sure he'll have a strong view on this. Fair enough. First day of the transfer window, massive mark of intent from Birmingham City to make a signing. They've obviously been doing work behind the scenes to make it happen so quickly. but it's a left back. And is that what Birmingham need to actually push up the league, or do they need to look for somebody to put the ball in the back of the net? What do you think, Rob?
Well, you need 11 players to make a team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's probably the most boring answer, but I'm sorry, but sometimes a left back's
Facts, as
needed.
Rafa would say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna come back to Birmingham, obviously, but just to say, Villa, we've been in the market now for a few seasons for a right back. That's not the most entertaining position. And I think it was one of the Neville brothers who said, or one of the things, who wants to grow up to be Gary Neville. Um, but
It was
but
Cara who
again,
said it.
yeah, there you go, there you go. But you do need that, and I mean, if you look at again, I'm talking about Villa, but if you look at how important Luca Digne's been for Villa the last few years, Matty Cash has popped up with some really important goals the last few seasons. So I'm definitely for Birmingham going for some legs at the back, and particularly as well, he's a defender, but if he can go forward, you've almost signed two players in a sense. You've got a defender and a forward, and I think the sort of basics of it. Would Birmingham have bought Wagner if he was that bad? Just going back to people saying about the standard of the MLS. They've identified something in him, the Birmingham coaching staff. So obviously they're going to be using that, and they think he'll fit their style. So until he doesn't, then I don't see. I think it's a good signing until proven wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've seen, haven't we? The game's evolved now. There was a time where left backs didn't go over the halfway line, but now fullbacks are a massive part of the attacking process. As Kim says, it's an opportunity for someone to actually provide, and so if he's got that in his locker, and as you say, again, another evolution is the game's very data driven now, and so there's no way they've signed this guy on a whim. It's not like the old days where they
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a phone book out and look up left backs. That they've identified him as a target, and they've got it
Hmm.
over the line on day one. We were talking about the ambition for Birmingham City, and recently you and I did an away game together. We were talking about the announcement of the stadium, stuff like that. So I mean, it is something that the Birmingham fans can get behind, isn't it? A signing on day one because the results haven't been great recently.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
But
definitely. I think for tomorrow's game against Coventry, we've got something like 6 first-team players out, and that makes a heck of a difference to the way you set up, the way you play, and overall your chances of getting something out the game. And there are other rumours doing the rounds. I don't know whether any of them have got any legs. I've heard there are discussions about getting Patrick Roberts on a permanent, which would be a good move for Blues. And of course, Dion Sanderson has now left for Derby County. So, at least one out, one in is giving Blues the opportunity. And I wonder if there'll be one or two others leaving as well to make more space and make all the pennies add up with PSR.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I did see is that the Lyndon Dykes out rumours are building a bit ahead of steam, aren't they now? So it may well be that Lyndon Dykes goes in, and they've already identified maybe
Yeah,
another striker. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Lyndon Dykes is he's one of those impact players because he's a presence, isn't he, in the box, and you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
launch the ball into him, but he's not a 90-minute player. He's not somebody who's going to be a threat all game. I mean, are you linked to any strikers? Are there any names you can throw out? Anybody you'd like to see come in?
Not that I've heard at the moment. So I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised when we hear something. But I think the main one is that if anybody at the front goes out, whether it's Dykes or Kyogo or both of them, we've got to have replacements in immediately because, of course, Stansfield is now injured. He got dead leg the other day. Hopefully, he won't be out too long, but you do not want to leave yourself without strikers. That's how to put the tin lid on your season, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to throw a Rob Richards fact back at him.
Yeah.
Goals win games, right, Rob? So you've got to have strikers. I mean, uh, uh, can you pluck a name out? Maybe somebody that you would think Wolves could Wolves Wolves on the brain today. One that Birmingham can pick out that could do a job in the Championship. Maybe it's a World Cup year. Somebody who's not getting minutes in the Premier League. You could send Gasson out there, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually highly rate Gus on. I think I'm one of the only few, maybe Villa fans that do. Um, it's a hard one, isn't it, to scour the market, particularly
Yeah.
at this stage, January, because not only are the you buying someone in, but the team selling them, then they're down a player, and unless they're
Yeah.
really not needed, then
Yeah.
they probably have to go and find a replacement as well. But I think if Blues, I think are they okay really for strikers? I mean, you can
They
they,
haven't got any that score,
possibly.
but they've got numbers.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
what
I'm
Yeah.
only
what I mean
messing around.
is, what I mean is, do they need new strikers, or do they have to change their system to suit the strikers they have? That's always
Yeah,
kind
possibly.
of the thing really you should be looking at, maybe, unless it's really not going to work with them. I think they've got some good variety, and Stansfield, he seems very good. Lyndon Dykes offers you different things, and Kyogo. So I think they're a few varied strikers, and like I said, and you have mentioned PSR as well. You can't be throwing silly money around, because
No.
a team can name their price at the start of the season. So for the sake of maybe bringing someone in, do they really need to, and at the cost of a PSR penalty?
Well, that's a fair point, actually. And also, right now, you have got a few attackers, and maybe it is a strategy. Maybe Kai Harley Wagner. I will get that name in my head at some point. Kai Harley Wagner. Maybe they brought him in, as you say, to be the provider.
Yeah.
2 million
Yeah.
quid. I mean, seems
That's
like
not
decent
bad.
enough value. Yeah, exactly. £13,000 a week sounds like sort of average championship
Yeah.
wages
Yeah.
as well. So, you know, it's the first transfer. It gives us I would say a modicum of hope that we're going to have quite a lot to discuss around the Midlands. And of course, it is a player coming in from the MLS. Now, this gives us quite a good transition over the partition, shall we say, over to Villa Park, because we talked on the last episode, sort of at length, really, about players going out at Villa, and there's one name on everybody's lips, and that was young Harvey Elliott. Obviously, I have my own interest in that because I'm a Liverpool fan. So I am gonna go to you, Rob. But basically, I saw that I'm gonna get it up. Actually, I'm gonna refer to my notes because basically Charlotte's FC decided they would give Harvey Elliott a lifeline because he can't play for another team in Europe. He can't play for another Premier League team. Arnie Slot doesn't want him. Neither does Unai Emery. But the boy doesn't want to lose a whole season of football. But I have read this morning that Harvey Elliott has turned down a loan offer to move to the MLS. He can only move out of Europe because he's played for Liverpool and Villa. Villa would have to pay a fee in order to terminate the deal, which I think, talking about PSR, I think they'd be reluctant to pay money just to not have a player. They might as well just put him in the bomb squad. Slot really doesn't see any plans for him at all. He's made it quite clear he's got no interest in playing him. That's why he sent him out on loan. If he can't get minutes in Villa, I think Slot sees that really as vindication rather than an opportunity. So, Rob, what what do we make of this for Harvey Elliott? Is he going to have to stay at Villa and see if he can get some minutes in the Europa League, or are you going to try and avoid playing him 10 times and having to buy him?
Well, I think that is the case. I read some words from Emery yesterday, and he said 2 months ago they made the mind up they weren't signing Harvey Elliott. So that's 2 months ago. They said no, we're not playing him. Um, I think it's pretty much certain he's not going to be playing for us again. They don't want to trip the activation clause and sign him as well. Um, it's then going to be a case of be on the bench at, well, not even on the bench, but be out of the squad at Villa or be out of the squad at Liverpool, it seems. Um, I understand. I think that the deal was maybe a 6 month deal in Charlotte, but Harvey Elliott apparently he doesn't seem at this point in his career a move to the MLS would be good for him. Um, I'm
Surely
obviously
playing
I don't know.
football is better than not
Well,
playing football,
that's
though.
yeah. As a young man to be playing football, and I I don't think I mean, we're just speaking about players from the MLS. I don't think the standard of the MLS is as low as it was before, because I think it was seen, when the likes
Mm.
of Henri and Gerrard were moving over there, it was like a retirement league. But I think now we are seeing more players being signed from the MLS
Mm.
as well. Obviously, still older players move there for a bit of a, holiday home and a payday and one last goodbye. But I know there was is it the Brighton midfielder Gomez? He came from the MLS and he's doing a really good job. I think he actually came from Inter Miami, and
Mm.
he's doing a really good job for Brighton. So it does look like it's a case of, are you going to just sit at home and, I don't not to invite say take the money, but are you going to sit at home and get paid, or do you just want to go and play? And it does seem like he wants to play. Obviously, all
Yeah, I was going
footballers
to say
do.
he's certainly
Um,
not a young man who's in the game for the money.
no,
He
no,
really wants to play, and I think his
and
honest desire is that he wants to play for Liverpool. But he turned down moves to Bundesliga in the summer as well.
yeah,
He really does see himself as a Premier League starter, and unfortunately for him, he's come across three managers now who are elite, who don't see where he fits into their systems. We talked about this on the last show. My personal view is that he thinks he's a number 10 because he's not quick enough for the wing and he's not robust enough to play in the engine. He wants to be a number 10. You're not going to get in ahead of Florian Wirtz and Morgan Rogers. So he needs to find a mid-table team. Of course, he can't do that in January. We know that. So Kim, are we back to the same quandary that we spoke about last week? He's damned if he stays at Villa, and he's damned if he goes back to Liverpool. Oh, I think I might have lost Kim. Oh no, Kim's back with us. Sorry. Yeah. So
Sorry, you went quiet for a moment. Yeah,
my
I
apologies.
mean,
So yeah,
Harvey Elliott. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one because obviously, if he had got the option to go to another UK team, I'm sure there are lots of championship teams would take him, but he can't do that this season. And I suppose I can sort of understand him maybe not wanting the upheaval of going to the States for
yeah.
6 months.
It's just six
But
months, and they'll rent him an apartment anyway, won't they? But it means you'd be
yeah,
playing and you'd be fit. But yeah, I get it because out of sight, out of mind, aren't you? Right now, we're talking
yeah,
about it. So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
by sort of April, May, his agent can get on the blower, I suppose. Okay, well, we've talked Harvey Elliott to death, and there's really no other options. If he's not prepared to take a lifeline, then he's going to be on the bench. So that's the end of his season, we think. But we'll, watch this space. Well, how about Ins then at Villa, Rob? Any names circling or anybody that's you know got you excited or you feel would be a good addition?
well, Villa have made a signing, 19-year-old Allison, young
Allison, we
Brazilian
spoke about
forward.
that. Yeah, it's a winger,
Yeah,
isn't he?
from Gremio. It doesn't seem like he will be a first team player. He's not going to go immediately into the first team, or maybe even on the subs. I think he's going to have a bit of time working with the manager. He seems, I've heard the word raw being used a lot. He's a raw talent,
He's to add depth, then, is
which
he?
yeah, which I think is understandable. But now Villa seem to be slightly changing their transfer strategy because up until now, Villa have been, we're going to sign this player to use this player. I'd say in the last season, we've started to see Villa changing their transfer and recruitment philosophy to maybe match the income generation we've seen at like Man City and Chelsea, where they're buying these players, maybe not even to particularly play them to go in the first team. We got to play them. We got to improve them a bit. Maybe give them a few runs
Develop
out.
them.
And if anyone wants to come and take us, or loan him, and if he's good, if you like him on loan, you can have him for X amount. Because Villa there was a young Turkish centre back Ozkan that I believe his surname's pronounced that we signed from a Turkish club. And he looked great on his videos, and he was saying all the right things. And he was going to be, maybe fourth choice centre back on the bench, come on Europa League, Conference League games, whatever. And then he was loaned immediately out to Anderlecht after joining, and he has a clause, and if they play him a certain amount of games, they buy him for about 15 million. So it's pretty much he's going. So
Yeah.
he hasn't even played a game for Villa, I don't think, or maybe 45 minutes in a pre-season game or something. So Alisson does. He looks exciting and a good youngster, but I'm starting to change my opinion. I'm not getting too attached to these players now. These youngsters we're signing because there's
They
probably a
might
good
be
chance we're not even going to play him,
revenue
and he's going to be
producers
sold.
rather
Yeah,
than
yeah, I
actual
think
team
so.
players. Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough. But
definitely.
but again, you never know, do you? Because if you get a raw Brazilian in, you get this Allison lad in. It only takes a moment of magic, doesn't it,
Yeah,
for him
yeah.
to
Who
be,
knows?
a player next season for Villa. And he's coming in January. I mean, people talk a lot about the January transfer window. It's hard to do business, and people don't want to move and stuff. But it can be a really, really great window of opportunity for players because because you're not expected to start every game because you've come in halfway through the season. But if you produce a little bit, you get minutes, you're already bedded in for the start of next season. So, it is a
Yeah.
chance, especially if you're young, to get minutes early with a means to starting next
Uh,
season, I
I
suppose.
I think as well it depends what type of player you are and what you offer. Because if a team's flagging maybe mid-season they need a body or two. I mean, if you just look at how Morgan Rogers came in to Villa, he came in and it was like a bomb went off, and we're like, wow, like who is this Rogers? Uh, Look at what he's doing, and it caught a lot of people off. Um, yeah, he was just a fantastic. Look at the pace, look at the strength. He usually plays winger, but now he's just, he plays number 10. You can't get the ball off him. He can score from anywhere. And it was that sort of thing. He came in January, like, wow, okay, this is exactly what we need. It's a shot in the arm, and you can see how good he is now. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good window of opportunity. Because if your
Hey.
team is a little bit, yeah, if the team is a little bit tired or needing a spark, you go in as a young lad, put 3 or 4 good performances together, and like you said, you're the first name on the team sheet, and all the fans are raving over you next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we so we can be quite positive. We've had a signing for Birmingham, so the Birmingham fans are quite happy because it looks like he will be going straight into starting lineup due to injuries. And Chris Davies, he looks like he needed a little bit of something just to refresh things. We've got a signing for Villa. Um, okay, we've got a bit of negativity around Harvey Elliott, but that's that. So that's sort of Birmingham City. I would say, cover because they are the headline for this show. They've made the first transfer of the window, and Villa. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to move across the Midlands a little, and we'll discuss West Brom and Wolves.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
Welcome back to A Window of Opportunity with me, Ed Mackay. I'm joined by BHBN broadcasters Kim Smith and Rob Richards. And let's just get this out of the way because I don't think this is going to be the most exciting segment of the show. We spoke last week about West Brom and the fact that they're not really linked to anybody. We don't think they've got any money to spend, and the only move they might make in the transfer window is to get rid of their manager. And I don't think any of those things have changed in the last week because, of course, they've had another good hiding. And Ryan Mason looks like he's under more pressure than ever. Rob, do you think he's going to survive?
I would hope so for morbid sake. No, I think it would derail West Brom if they were to get rid of him right away because okay, West Brom, they were probably targeting somewhere near promotion because they still, I think they consider themselves a Premier League team, and of course they still want to get up there. I think with any championship club, the longer you stay in the championship, the further you get away from the Premier League. I think particularly if you're I would define that. If you're a Premier League team that's dropped down, that's been relegated in, you've got to get back up as soon as you can because then you start to lose the Premier League players. You then become a championship team and then you're there for another 7-8 years. And then, like the championship, it throws up a new club every year that will chase promotion out of nowhere.
You stop getting the parachute payments as well, don't you? So
exactly,
so the finances become harder to actually compete with as well.
That's it. So you're not a you're not a relegated Premier League team. You're now just a championship team, and then you start to find yourself battling to stay in the championship. And then you're not looking at the top, trying to get to the top. You're looking, we need to avoid going down, and then it's it's a sad state. So going back to your question, sorry, because I've gone straight off it. With Ryan Mason, I think they should keep with Ryan Mason because he's a young manager. It's his first real
learning
gig
on
as
the
a
job,
head coach.
and the fans have expectations. Each week he shows a little bit more naivety. I mean, the fans would say, or certainly the fans online would say, because we always like to caveat match game fans aren't necessarily as negative as online fans. Okay, but they would argue, why should we be the training ground for a young manager? He's making mistakes. He's costing us points. We want him out. So it will meet a breaking point if he doesn't start picking up points. Presumably, Kim. I mean, you watch the championship and it's pressure filled, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the championship is always so difficult because very few teams in the championship are very consistent. You'll get the odd one that really stick out, like Coventry, although they've had a bit of a hiccup the last couple of games. And it always remains that on any given day, any championship team can beat another one. So it's never a gimme, and you never know who's going to sort of rise to the top. And often it isn't the relegated teams. I mean, all three of them this season aren't doing particularly well. Ipswich had picked up a bit, but it really is a very, very difficult league.
Yeah, it is. Before we move on to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and we must, but I will say the only name we did band around a little bit in last week's show, Rob, and I'm sure you'll
Dele
be glad
Alli!
to hear this, was Dele Alli. I mean, what do you think? Is he a great signing for that West Brom should be targeting?
I definitely think it would be a very dynamic player for their side, and as you
Writing's on the
know,
wall. I heard it's happening.
right. It's on some wall somewhere. There's some sort of writing, but
Toilet
until it doesn't
refrain.
happen, yes, the one going to Wolverhampton. I think until it doesn't happen, it still could.
Well, that's very true, and that's the great thing about this show, because
Yeah.
until it doesn't happen, anything could, and we'll be bringing you um episodes of A Window of Opportunity all through January. We are going to go to a quick break because when we come back, we're going to talk about the team that played here at Molineux today.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
Welcome back to A Window of Opportunity, and the final segment of our transfer show is going to feature Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, I am in the press box at Molineux right now. They're out mowing the pitch, and the lights are up. There's a full moon facing me. It's quite a resplendent stadium, and I'm surprised that it's still standing today because it was absolutely rocky. Wolverhampton Wanderers have picked up their first 3 points. They absolutely battered West Ham. I mean, West Ham, I'll be surprised if Nuno survives that, because giving West Ham their first 3 points is pretty poor. Obviously, he's returning here as a former manager. I mean, West Ham needs some serious surgery, but if anybody's now earned the right to maybe have some investment for the second half of the season, could it be Rob Edwards? Kira, I'll come to you first. Again, there's not a lot of names circling around, but I mean, what do you think? Do you think he might get some money to spend in January, even if it is to strengthen for the championship?
Yeah, I suppose you never know. And I suppose it might all hinge on whether or not Strand Larsen moves.
Well, I'll
Because
tell
if
you
he
now. Sorry
does,
to interject, but Callum Wilson touched the ball about 3 times today. Strand Larsen
oh,
came on for the last 5 minutes and he touched the ball more than Callum Wilson. So if they are in the
yeah,
market for a striker, I would bank the money because I don't think Strand Larsen's the answer. I'll tell you who the man of the match for Wolverhampton Wanderers was today. Aruka Dare. He won every battle. He was up against two big centre backs who are throwing him to the ground, and he still win every single header. He linked the play. He held it up. He looked phenomenal. Strand Larsen, his surface for requirements. I'm sorry to have butted in there, but I literally just saw him play.
no,
And if
no,
West Ham are in the back now having a conversation, if I was Wolves, I'd take the money and run, because then they can actually invest.
yeah, yeah. It would then give them the opportunity to either get a couple of decent loans in on bigger wages or buy in a couple more. I must admit, I think, given that a lot of the players they bought in over the summer had no Premier League experience, I think if I was pulling the strings over there, I would be looking for a couple of proven Premier League players on loan, as you were saying, who maybe are going to the World Cup and are desperate for some game time.
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. Although I will say, all 4 or 5 of their new signings actually played today and looked
Yeah.
great. I mean, I did say during the commentary, you want to put it in perspective. Wolves have got the first 3 points. The place is rocking, but they were playing the second worst team in the Premier League,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the team who have actually been performing worse than them, because Wolves have built on some good performances because they played well against Arsenal, they played well against Liverpool, and now they've got 3 points. We always said they were fighting for Rob
Mm.
Edwards, but today, talk last week, there were suggestions, weren't there, that they might pull the plug already, and they were
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
Cardiff's manager and what have you. I don't think that's the case. He's definitely he's staying for that championship fight next year. But Rob, do you think he'll get money to spend in January? And if so, have you got any names to throw at us?
I definitely, if they've got money to spend, I think definitely they should be, and I don't know what else they would be saving the money for if they do have it. Um, I'm sure if the accountants are in the ears of the owners and whoever, they're saying, well, if you give them money now, maybe try and stay in the Premier League rather than um, then drop into the Championship, and then that's a big loss of income. So, maybe if you give them 60 million in January, try and do everything you can to then stop going into the Championship where you'll lose, X amount of money. Um,
Well, there were
I think
shouts at the end
definitely.
of the game of "the Great Escape is on." So the delusion is not all over at Villa. There is
What?
delusion everywhere.
Yes, yes, thank you. Uh, what I will say is if you look at where Wolves have picked their points up, they drew two games back to back earlier in the season. Then their game before their win, they drew. So all the points they've accrued so far, they've had two draws in a row, then they've had a draw and a win in a row. So it looks like they just need the confidence because they can pick
Oh,
up points
massively.
together. So who knows? Now they've got a
I,
win. They've obviously
I
been
will say,
excited because they drew against United. Should have beat them as well.
yeah, they should have won that United game, shouldn't they? That chance at the end, that would have been 3 points. And then today, I mean, we're not under any illusions. They're going down, and I think they knew that. That's Rob Edwards was brought in for a promotion push, as far
Mm.
as I'm concerned. But that is really difficult to actually manage, isn't it? Because who do you buy that will want to play for you in the Premier League, but
Well,
is suitable for the
that's
Championship? That's a
that's what
tough
I
one,
mean.
isn't it?
How do you sell the project to any players that want to come in? What do you say to them? Try and can you get something for us? We're going to be relegated. Yeah, like you said, you got to probably be asking for Premier League quality, knowing you're going to go into the Championship. You've got to manage your finances appropriately because of that. And with Rob Edwards, I'm no disrespect to the man, but he's not a top elite manager yet. He hasn't really shown signs personally of he's improved players. He hasn't really. He had a good spell with Luton, but that was just two big men um, winning things at corners and just being very physical, which he showed as well. That didn't work in the Premier League. Um, I would say the Wolves going to Wolves now would be a really hard sell because I
Well,
don't know
there are there are a couple of
what you
names,
would
so
go
I'll
for.
throw the names out at you because Rob Edwards did sort of allude to the idea that he might get some money, and Fosun is one of the names that he's been linked with, and the other one was Dwight McNeil from Everton, although I think that they might have kiboshed that. So these are the kind of players that they're looking at. Dwight McNeil, Fosun. I did hear a little whisper in the press room uh, earlier at half time that there's a player at Lazio they might be looking at, but I didn't get a name, so I'm just putting that out there. So there might be a player from Lazio, Fosun. I think Dwight McNeil. I think Everton have shut it down, but you don't know, do you? You just never know. In fact, the quote of the day today is, "Until it doesn't happen, it could. So we'll so we'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Kim. Thank you, Rob, and thank you for watching us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a window of opportunity from BHBN Sports Radio Team.
Birmingham Sports
with Ed Mackay.
This is BHBN Radio.